going to do the double page spread today. So here we've got our cover that we finished in the last tutorial, and now we're going to work on the double page spread. The double page spread, this is the main gutter, and that is the crease where you would close the book. So if you close the book and these two pages faced one another, they touched one another when I close the book, that's called a double page spread. So as we're looking at this double page spread, I know that when I get to the story part, I'm going to want some columns. But first, let's back up for a minute. Maybe yours doesn't look like this. Maybe you have 3 pages and they're stacked on top of each other. So maybe you've got 1, 2, and then underneath you've got a 3rd page. So let's fix that right quick if that's you. You go to File and Document Setup. Where is it? Right here. Document Setup. And maybe you didn't click facing pages when you first set everything up. So you can click it now and that'll help the pages face. I'll show you when I unclick it. Then they're stacked on top of one another. But since it's a double page spread and I know those pages are going to go together, I want them to be together so I can see what they're going to look like right next to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and click it there. And then I also know I'm going to want some margins when I get to story writing. So I'm going to go to the layout and I'm going to go to margins and columns. And I want 3 margins on each side. So I'm going to, or columns, sorry, 3 columns on each side. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 3. I can type it or I can just push the up arrow and say 3 and go to OK. Oh, I have the W on, so there we go. Now we can see it. So the outside that you're looking at all the way around is called the margin. That's what we want to skip, and I'll show you the winter rec flyer that came. It's a disaster. It's a good reason why you don't put text on the margin. And then I've got 3 columns on each page, which is perfect. So if I look at the final product, we're going to end up with a double page spread that looks like this. So I'm going to start with the headline, and the headline is right here. It says athletic, so I'll pop back over to mine, and I'm going to grab a text tool, and I'm just gonna, I don't know how much space it'll take up. I'm going to put in the word athletic, and I'm just going to go with a basic Arial black because everybody has Arial black. So I'm going to highlight it and choose Arial black. I forgot to highlight it a second ago. And then I'm just going to cheat because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I already did the creative part. I'm going to have it be 133 points. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to make it 133 or 135 points. And that's how tall it is right now, and or how spread out it is. But I want it in all caps, and I just typed it however I wanted. But if I go up to the TT where they're in capital letters, I can click on that and bam, I've got it in all caps. So it still doesn't look like my other one. My other one, I stretched it to make that look a lot bigger. So I'm going to stretch it. I think it said 233%. I'm not sure. Let me pop back over. Again, I'm cheating because, we don't know 320% because we don't need to waste that much time on this. When you're being creative yourself, you take your time, you do whatever you like. But for just learning how to use it, we're going to just throw in some numbers and make it look nice. So now I've got this huge athletic, and notice when it stretches, it's outside of the text box. Sometimes that's a pain because you might try and double click to change a font or a size and it won't work. You have to click inside the box to highlight it. If I were to click outside of the box, it doesn't know that I'm trying to grab text. So inside the box to highlight it. And anyway, I'm going to scoot this sucker down. The other problem with this is that, and again, I have to click inside the box to scoot it down. I can't click on the E up here or it's not doing anything for me. So I'm going to put it right kind of at the top of the margin. Another problem is if I were to scoot, I can scoot that up. I wasn't sure if it would make things smaller or not. Okay, perfect. So I got that. We're looking good. And then next, if we look at our double page spread, I'm going to put a deck on there. And I want that deck to be white with black writing on it. And so since it's going to go on black writing, You want to be careful about that. So Arial Black, 50 points. And I made it a little bit wider. Okay, so let's pop over here. And I'm going to make another text box that says growing up. Whoops, do I know how to spell? I do. Okay, growing up. And again, I'm going to highlight that. And I want it in all caps. We're just keeping life easy. Going to Arial Black. Do you guys remember what it was? 55 maybe? I don't remember. We'll see. As long as it works, it's good. So growing up, and I'm going to make the box about that size. Now, if I come up to the top, do you see these marks here? And you'll probably have to widen your screen. So go from there to wider in order to see everything across the top. And I want it to be in the center of the box so that if I were to make this box bigger, it would keep my letters in the center of that box. Do you see how that's happening? But I also want to highlight the word. Command A highlights everything, or you can run your cursor over it, but I like to just click in there and push Command A. And then I get the centering up here. So now I'm centering it vertically with the selection tool and horizontally with the letter selection tool, okay, with the text tool. So now it's centered in this box. And I am going to, the box, if you notice here, because I have the box selected, doesn't have any color. So I'm going to take this fill color right here on the side, and I'm going to go over to swatches, and I could make it red underneath, but I'm not. I'm going to make it paper. And there's a reason why I'm making it white instead of just leaving it blank. And the reason is because when I move this up on top of these words here, I want it to cut across the letters. And I think I spread them out a little bit. So the T with the arrows going out, I think I spread it out like 125% or something like that, so that it goes a little farther across the words. Let's see, right about there. Okay, not awesome. If I push the W, you'll see what that looks like in practice. Okay, I actually probably, okay, don't play with it, Rebecca. Sorry. You guys know I get caught up in perfecting things. But anyway, that's what that looks like without all of those rulers and guidelines there to help you out. So I'm going to put the rulers back and guidelines so I can see everything. Okay, I need all these guides right now to show me what I'm doing. And I've got the growing up. So now we're going to do the next part, and we're going to do the same thing but in reverse. So I'm going to draw a text box. And again, I'm going to cheat over here so it goes quickly, and you can cheat off me too. And what are these? These are Arial regular 70 point. Okay, so we'll pop back over here, and I'm going to put, what did it say? School. And I'm going to push Command A to highlight it and make it all caps. And I've already forgotten what it was. So Arial regular, what point size was it? 70. Okay. Oof, I'm old. All right. So 70 points. And we're good. Oh my gosh, it disappeared. No, just kidding. That red plus sign, remember, always means that there's something there. You maybe just don't have enough space for it. Okay, so I'm going to make my box about that size, and I'm going to, again, center the words in the box, and I'm going to no, I think I want them left aligned, so I'm just going to leave them. I'm not going to center them. But I do want, this time around, for my box, so I've selected my box, the fill on my box to be black. So I'm going to make a black fill. Oh my gosh, where'd my words go? Command A, and I've got all my letters there, and I'm going to make my letters white. Uh-oh, not the outline, bozo. Okay, just a second, sorry. And go to the regular, there we go, make it white. Perfect. So now when I click off, it's just right. And I'm going to pop over here. I'm going to actually hold down my Option key. Remember, Option and drag, and you can copy it and copy again. So what did we have? School, friends. I don't remember what the other one said, so I'm just going to say life. Whatever. Okay, so school, friends, life. I can live with that. And I know that these are going to go sideways. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to flip it 90 degrees, and it's showing me how it's going. It's showing me the degrees. And then I will pull it over here, and I want it to be at the same place as the bottom of the word athletic. So I'm going to go up to my ruler up here, and if you don't have rulers, then go to View and down to Show Rulers right here. Mine says Hide Rulers because I already have them, and click on Show Rulers. Okay, so now when I show rulers, I can click on the ruler and drag down, and look, it brings this cool blue line down to the bottom of the eye there. And you see that blue line there? And so I know I can line the word school up right there so that it's with the other one. And then I'm going to do the same thing and rotate these 90 degrees. Good. Good. Okay, and the next one, 90 degrees. Rotate that sucker. There we go. And good. And I'm actually going to drag them out here a little bit and make them fit. I might make these boxes a little wider. And I might actually put a space before, because I do want it left aligned, but I don't want it sitting right on top. So I'm going to put a space in between each of those. So I'm going to drag this one over just a little. Maybe I'll just, you know what, I'm just going to copy this one. So I'm going to hold Option and copy it because I made it wider, so I want it to be nice. And next one wider, so I want it to be nice. And then I'll double click in there and push Command A and type in school. But I want one space in there, so one space, there we go. Oof. I'm going to make them smaller. Here I go. Nitpicking everything. Sorry, I promised myself I wouldn't do this, but here we go. Okay, so 58. There we go. This one was a space and then friends, but I'm going to select all and make that one. What was it, 58? I'd just be making stuff up. Okay, and then this one, I'll make that one 58 as well. So bam, 58. Okay, now those are all uniform, and I've got some space here, so maybe I'll just move this out, make it more vertical or more horizontal to like 120. Let's see what that does. Ooh, that is long. I don't know how long it will be. Let's see. Oops, just kidding. Let's see. Oh, still too long. Okay, perfect. So I don't need it that far out. I'm going to spread it out to maybe 110% or maybe 112. Now I'm moving incrementally, so it's getting closer to school, friends in life, and bam, looks great. So if I, let's see, let's get this out of the way, collapse that panel so we can look at it and push W. Okay, it's looking pretty nice. Okay, so now I'm going to put the guides back on, and I'm going to go down here and notice something a little annoying is that when I brought the ruler down, it brought it down for page 3, but it didn't carry across to page 2. So I'm going to bring one down for page 2 and match it up, okay, because it's going to be important in a second to keep everything nice and even. All right. So now it's time to do a text box, and we're going to put a story across most of this page, but I know I'm also going to have 2 pictures. So I'm going to take my frame and I'm going to draw a picture here, and notice how I'm leaving room. These are the gutters right in there. That's the gutter space, and I'm making the picture 1 column wide. And then the picture right next to it, I'm just going to grab my selection tool and hold down Option so that I copy it and it's exactly the same and put it across there. All right. So now something really interesting is going to happen. In order to place my pictures, I'm going to, oh, look, see, that's a little higher still. There we go. Okay. So in order to place my pictures, I'm going to push Command D. So I'm going to push Command D, and what did I use? I don't know what I'll use. Let's do some T. No, let's do Kaya. Where's her team? No, I have a cute one of Shawnee and Trey. Let me see. Let me find it. Trey, where's one of Shawnee and Trey? Oh, I love that one. Okay, we're going to do that one. So I pushed Command D and I found the photo, which I put on the lesson plan for you. And we're going to put it in there, and it doesn't fit in the frame. Look, if I click on it, it does not fit in the frame. Can you see the yellow right here? That is how big that picture actually is. So I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to go to fitting, and I'm going to say fill that frame proportionally. What this does is it doesn't stretch things funky, make them skinnier or fatter or whatnot. It just fits it in. And you can see that horizontally, when it's proportional, it still doesn't all fit in there. So I can choose to cut a little Trey's elbow out by scooting it over if I want more ball there. Or I can scoot it over this way and leave Trey's elbow in there and have less ball. I'm going to do that. All right, second picture, Command D, and let's just find a picture of Trey dunking. Yeah, let's use that one. Okay. And again, doesn't fit in there, so I'm going to right click and I'm going to say fit, fill the frame proportionally. And bam, there he is. Now, if I don't like that and I want it to be just a little bit bigger, I can click on the picture and I'm going to hold the shift key down so that it keeps it proportional. And I'll make it just a little bigger, but scoot it down. And I can't really tell that he's far off the ground there, so I don't know if I love that, but I'm going to do that just so we have a little better space in the picture. All right, so now the next part is super important. Up here on my top menu, can you see these 4 icons? One has no text wrap. The other says wrap around a bounding box. The other says wrap around an object shape. And the other says jump object. So the 2 we care about most often is the no text wrap. And sometimes you have to push that, like on the cover, if your text wouldn't go across the picture that you were doing on the cover. What we want to do is we want to wrap our story around our pictures. So this is the one we use most often when doing layout, so that my story doesn't go all the way across my picture. So I'm going to click on the frame and I'm going to say wrap that text. And you'll see why that matters. I'm going to not do it with the second one so that it shows you what happens there. Okay, so if I say wrap the text, I can also go to a whole text wrap screen and I can say, I want you to wrap 1 pica, which they changed it to inches because I'm set for inches. But pica is the measurement we use on our actual pages, and we'll talk more about that. But pica, 6 picas equals an inch, and 1 pica is the perfect amount of space between elements. It's just a nice clean space. So I said text wrap it, but then I went into the menu and said, I'm going to go a step further and say 1 pica, which is 0.16667 whatever inches. Okay, collapse that there on. Okay, so I text wrapped this one, and you can see a little blue box around it right there. Okay, it's going to make a nice space. I did not text wrap this one, so let's see what happens here. I am now not ready to write my story, but I want to know what that page is going to look like when I'm done. So I want to set it all up and see if I'm going to like it. Is it going to be good? So I'm going to set all this text up, and I'm going to go up to type, and I'm going to say fill it with placeholder text. So that's fake text. It's just going to give me Latin. So it gives me a whole bunch of Latin. See? Not English there. And then I can see visually, oh, that's way too much text. I need to fix that. I need to break it up. I need more pictures or whatever I want to do. But for right now, I just want to set this text into the column. So I'm going to click on the text box, and I'm going to go over to the right-hand side and pull it into the first column. And bam, look, it looks really nice in that first column. And then I'm going to click on the plus sign at the bottom, and I'm going to go up to the second column. And I'm going to click on the plus sign, and I'm going to go up to the third column. Plus sign, fourth column. Notice how I'm leaving this gutter clean, because when you staple something together or when they glue it together in the factory, it's not always perfect. So you want to leave a little space there. And this running across the gutter there, the E and the T, sometimes that just happens, and it's cool enough to go ahead and do it. So anyway, Then I'm going to move over to column 5, and look what happened. You're going to see that the plus sign is down here at the bottom of the picture, but it's not touching the picture. But on this one, when I get to column 6, watch what the text does. It runs all the way across the picture and looks really awkward. Okay, and I don't have this nice space here. So I need to fix that, and I'm going to click on the frame. I hope I've got the frame and not the text. Nope, see, I'm getting the text box, only the text box. So I'm going to scoot the text box out of the way for a hot minute. I'm going to click on the frame, and I'm going to go back and do the same thing I did with the other picture. I'm going to wrap around, like there, right there. Okay, wrap around a bounding box, and I'm going to open the menu up again, and I'm going to say, yeah, I want a full pica. So 1 pica. I have to type it since I'm set up for inches. Otherwise, it'll think I mean 1 inch, and 1 inch would be huge. You want to see 1 inch? We'll see 1 inch, 1 inch, and see what happens. Look at how big that box is. So now it's moving the text way far away from the picture, and I just want it to look nice and pretty. So I'm going to say 1 pica, because that's the measurement we really use in design, and it goes back to something nice and manageable. It's just out that much. So now I can put this back in its column, and you can see that there's more story there. Okay, there's more story there, but it's not running across the picture anymore. So if I click on that red, and then I can delete that, and I can keep doing this until it's deleted. I don't really care about it right now, so I'm not going to worry about it. What you would really do is you'd go back into the story and say, oh, this paragraph has got to go, and you would keep taking away bits of paragraph. See, now my red is gone, and I have everything fitting in there. So you would take out the paragraphs that were boring and everything and go from there. All right, I just told you 1 pica is the way to go. So when you're done with layout, what you do is these columns are 1 pica, but I'm going to take a box, and I'm going to click on the page, and I'm going to put in 1 pica by 1 pica. So I just made a rectangle that's 1 pica by 1 pica, and I'm actually going to make it black so I can see it. Perfect. Okay, and now I've got this box right here, and this is the easiest way to make sure everything is spaced nicely, and I can take it all the way around. So I can go over here and make sure these are 1 pica apart, and they're not, they're a little more, but since it's a headline, I don't care. Where I do care, however, is between these 3 elements. So I'm going to zoom in right here. I'm going to bring my box over by the life, and then I'm going to grab the friends one. I'm going to scoot it over so that it's 1 pica apart. Then I'm going to move the box, right on the edge there, and I'm going to scoot school over until it's 1 pica apart. Uh-oh, where'd my words friends go? I don't know. Okay, and I'm going to do that. Oh, it was overlapping. Okay, but then what's really important is I'm going to take this box and bring it down to the bottom of school and friends, and I'm going to move this guideline that I have to the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other page. Oh, let me get over to the other page with the E, and then make sure that that guideline right there. Oh, I moved the whole word. I'm trying to get just the guideline. And if you can't get just the guideline, go up to the ruler and just make a new guideline. Okay, so that guideline comes down. And then I can move this, oh, shoot, dog, sorry. Then I can move this black box out of the way for a bit. Okay, but now I've got these 2, or this blue guideline right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all the text up to that guideline, and I'll show you why in just a second. So I'm putting it up at the guideline, up at the guideline, up at the guideline, up at the guideline. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure it goes all the way down the page, and see how it's moving the story. This is why you would put the whole text together, is because then when you change sizes, it moves the whole story for you. Whereas if I just grabbed my text tool and made 1 column and typed, I need to delete that text box. And then made another column and typed, and another column and typed. If I wanted to shorten my story, then I'd have to go and copy and paste some of this into this text box. But since it's all one big box from the very beginning, it's shifting my words over. See, this is getting shorter right here. It's shifting my words over as I go along, which is perfect. Okay, so let's add a byline real quick. So at the end of this, oh, we won't add a byline yet because we're going to do one more thing. So why did I worry about the guideline, which is the little blue ruler lines? Why did I worry about pulling a guideline down? Let me lose the lines for a second and you'll see. Beautiful. So look at that. You've got a nice space between the A and the words, and it goes all the way across the page, and it looks the exact same. That C dips a little bit, so you would have to decide what you want to do with that. But everything is nice on a plane, and the story matches up nicely. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. All right, let's add a pull quote. So to add a pull quote, what did my pull quote on the other page say? Working out makes me feel good. Okay, what was it in? Ariel regular 30 point. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go over here and we're going to make a new text box. You might not be able to see it because I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to put quote marks and say working out makes me feel good, period, close cap or quote. I'm going to highlight it so that I can go to regular Arial. I don't remember what size it was, 30 point. I don't know. Okay. And I'm going to move. Now we're going to have to text wrap this. I'm going to move this thing up here and I make it a 2-section box. And look, because I've been text wrapping, it's going there as the first option already, which is awesome. Okay. So working out, and I'm going to put a return there, makes me feel good, and I'm going to center it. Okay. And so look, it automatically text wrapped. Now it didn't do the pica thing though. So I'm going to open the text wrap and I'm going to select it as a box instead of text tool there. So I'm selecting it as a box, and then I'm going to go over here and say 1 pica, por favor. And it's going to give me 1 pica of space. So when I click off of it, oh, beauteous. It's fabulous. Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit skinnier so that the text on the left and the right doesn't look quite so awkward or short. And then just to top this off and make this quote look a little better, I'm going to grab my, I can grab a line tool or a rectangle. I'll just grab a rectangle for now. And you know what I want to do? I want to put the text. Remember how we put it in the center of the box? I want to put it in the center of the box and make the box just a little bit bigger. Okay, so that when I put my rectangles here, bam, and I make it black. So where's my swatch? There we go, and I make it black. Perfect. Or you can do a line and just make the line thicker. I'm going to hold Option and then drag that down, and now I've got a second line, and I've created a little frame here. So look at how pretty that is. Okay, so now I've got a little frame, and this is called a pull out quote. So let's see, is there anything else we want to do? Oh, remember we talked about hyphenation? We don't like hyphenation. So I'm going to double click and push Command A, and it'll grab all my text there. And out here on the right hand side, you'll see 3 lines. And if you go down to hyphenation, you can say, no hyphenation, and say okay, and it will fix it. It'll move your text around. See, now I've got extra text here I have to get rid of, but it'll take away all that hyphenation that we didn't want. Okay, so last thing we're going to do is a drop cap. So to show people where the story starts, I'm going to highlight the A, and I'm going to go back to these 3 lines over here. And I will say drop cap right there, drop caps and nested styles. And it will pull up a menu for me. And I want the drop cap to be 3 lines long. I can type it in or I can put it there using the arrow. and bam, it's 3 lines tall. Okay, so that A is 3 lines tall. I have a beautiful pull quote here. There is still extra story here, so I'm gonna go through and maybe read this paragraph, and I'll get rid of some of this paragraph, and there's still a problem, so I'll cut out that paragraph, and I'll do that until we run out of story, hopefully today. Okay, there we go, perfect. So we ran out of story, and I'm going to go down to the very end and push return and put a dash, and Rebecca, no, let's just do R, Schwert, I know how to spell my name, Schwertfeger, and I'm going to highlight my name and say right align that, because I don't want them to think it's part of the story. It's just the byline. Who is this story by? Sometimes in newspapers, most of the time actually, they put the byline at the very top of the story, by Rebecca Schwertfeger, and then there's the story. But in yearbooks, when we put drop caps, and magazines where it's more artistic, we would put a drop cap, which means it would be awkward to say by Rebecca Schwertfeger, huge drop cap. So instead, we'll put it at the end of the story, or maybe underneath the title, the headline there. Okay, so this is our final page, and let me think, is there anything I'm missing here? Let me look at the other slide. It looks great. Yep. Nicely done. So I'm going to go back over to our finished product, and there's one final thing I need to do, and that is get rid of that pica box that helped me measure things, but now it has served its purpose and I don't want it accidentally printing. So I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to push W, and I have a finished magazine cover and a double page spread. All right, people, nicely done. Last but not least, I'm going to go say File and Save, or Save As, or push Command S. I've already titled it correctly, so I can just push Command S and it will save. If you're nervous that it didn't do anything, then go up to File and see Save is grayed out, so I know that it has saved. And then it's ready to rock and roll. If we were to need to print it, we would go to is it Export or Save As in InDesign? It's exactly backwards from Illustrator. I don't know why they're not the same. It's Export. So you go to Export, and you would export it as a PDF, because InDesign always uses a PDF since there's so much text, and you want to be able to read it on a screen where you can zoom in and not have it get pixelated. Remember, vector instead of raster, so no pixels there. And you also want to be able to print it as large or as small as you need it, and not have any of the quality diminish. So there we go. We've got a beautiful cover and a beautiful double page spread, and you are ready to do your own layouts in InDesign. All right, y'all, have a good one. Make sure you screenshot these and put them on your InDesign website. Bam.